G'day, citizens. Welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. How you doing?
I'm doing fair. I'm alive. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah. So don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went the extra mile on the credits at the end of the video on Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Right, with that then, Algared got home a couple of hours ago. He's had a chance since 324 dropped earlier today to have a look at this ship, which is the Peregrine, or Sabre Peregrine. And I'm never going to call it that again. I'm going to call it the reference of Peregrine Took from Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to be calling it that because it's a fool of a ship.
Indeed, a very Gandalfish of you
Yes.
to call it that. And I got to agree with you. I know we were talking earlier about being positive, but for me, it really does feel like the steel has been surpassed. And those who know my thoughts on the steel know probably my thoughts on this overall. But having said that, it does have some really nice characteristics, and your experience is it is really fast and zippy, and
Yeah. It definitely accelerates really quickly. I'm not a racer though, so don't take me on anything other than that. I haven't actually been able to get on a track and kind of go around it. Most of mine was just the testing of the speed and stuff like that. So I was going around Horizon through the rings and stuff like that. But I wouldn't feel comfortable essentially reviewing a race ship. I would get, I'd put this in, go out and listen to one of the content creators that are specifically into racing if you want to know where this thing sits, and we can kind of give a bit of a tip hat to Echo Bit that helped us out with some stats. We happen to be in the same org as them, so that's why.
so I grabbed some of the stats that Echo had gathered,
Yeah.
and look, and the stats tell me that this is a very fast ship in the forward. So the comparing it to Comet, the Raven, the Firebird, they all have a nav speed of 1,440 meters a second. This Echo puts down as being 1,448 meters a second, so a little bit faster in nav mode. But where it really excels is when you go to SCM speed. So unboosted, the Peregrine is 267 meters a second compared to 240 for the other Ravens. When you go to boost speed, though, it goes to 653 meters a second compared to 590. So it's a massive boost in terms of speed.
Yeah.
Forward thrust, again, it's 16.9 meters per second regular. The closest to it is, I think, the Comet at 12 meters a second. Sorry, is the Raven at 15 meters a second. When it's boosted, forward thrust is 30.3 meters a second. The closest is again the Raven at 25.5 meters a second. So it is fast.
Yeah.
Again, retro thrusters 3.5 meters a second regular, 4.3 meters boosted. That's faster than the Firebird. It's a little faster than the Raven unboosted, but the Raven pips it when it's boosted. And the Comet is the fastest at 4.2 meters a second retro thrust and 5.9 meters a second when it's boosted. So it's not quite the fast. It's the fastest in a straight line, but when you start measuring it against forward and backward thrust and the lateral thrust, the vertical thrust, it starts to fall behind. So when you go to the vertical, it is 6.8 meters a second up, 9.2 meters a second down, compared to the Sabre, which is 9 meters up and 11.7 meters when it's boosted, down 4.2 meters versus 4.7 meters on the Comet, 5.7 boosted versus 6.4 boosted. So the Comet is actually better at the vertical thrust up and down, and also in terms of retro thrust. And if I look at the yaw, the left and right, it's 5.2 meters a second and 7.1 meters a second when it's boosted. And the Comet is 8.5 meters and 11.5 meters when it's boosted. So again, Comet excels at the twisting and turns, which I think makes the Comet a better racetrack, whereas this is a sprinter. This is probably the closest, just thinking about it, would be better to compare it to the the razors and the dragster type getup, rather than the twisting and turning, where I think the Comet is the one that's more of a twist and turns. But in terms of speed, yeah, straight line.
In other news, water is wet. Who would know that the racing ship would be the fastest in a straight line? But I think that's kind of... Well, let's cut over in the game. Let's have a quick look at it in game. Just we're going to have a look at the externals here. So if you've seen the other Sabres, you know that they have a few small external differences. I've got the red and black skin from the shop here, but basically the holes that was on the other ones are basically popped out. You've got a fin here, and you've got a spoiler, or half spoiler. I don't know how to say that.
Two half spoilers, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to jump to see, but wait, hang on. If I can go into... And then do this. There we go. So, yeah, you've got some little pipes here on either side as well. But really, it's just the two spoilers and the two little wings that really differentiate it, and obviously a little light there as well that they've added because the other versions don't have that open. But it really is not that much different, what do you call it, externally to the others. It really comes down to its flight characteristics, and it really does accelerate quite drastically. So I'll get in and show you that really quickly.
Yeah, the other thing, when you look at the components, it's very similar to the other components as well. So
you are now enjoying the experiences we've all had on the PTU of these really loud hangar noises. So let's get out of here as quick as we can. Going to... There we go.
The joy of silence.
Sorry, we're just being quiet there because that is so loud and annoying. But yeah, as you were saying, Algared in SCM, so yeah, so very fast at boosting.
Yeah. And when you look at the components of this compared to the other the other Sabres, it's comparable. Like the thing that when I was comparing it to the Firebird, which were the two I could see on my phone earlier, the only difference really, it had two power plants. But when we were looking at the Matrix just before the show, the Firebird was the only one that didn't have two power plants.
So there's not a lot of component change. It's just it's almost like stats tweaked.
Yeah, the big thing that they've got is the that they've said is the bespoke engine optimization, which is basically filling in that whole central section where on the others you have the components or the missiles or the EPMs or
So it is very, very fast. It does look a little different, but I think that's kind of where the positives for me kind of taper out. I think, quite honestly, I'll kick it back over here. Just give me a second. I think that's kind of where the positives kind of end for me, because if you kind of, how do I put this? I think they've got a very big uphill battle trying to sell a racing ship. Now, unless you or I have got this wrong, this is the most expensive racing ship they've ever sold. And I just don't see it. I just don't see it. At least as in a single, it's the single-seater most expensive fighter. So, because to put that in turn of phrase, if the Zeus ST lands where you and I think it's going to land, that would have been 175. Now, knowing that they're selling this potentially a month or two, if the Zeus even comes out, right? Put it that way, a Zeus CL is 155, right? So a 3-person cargo craft. And the other thing that I didn't show you too, I should actually jump back in the game just to prove this, right? Real quickly, is it's got no guns. There are none. Right. That's me pressing the trigger, and you can see it.
Yeah, well, that's right. When you said it's the most expensive fighter, I was going to say, well, no, it doesn't have any guns. It doesn't have any weapons. That's the key thing. And even the Matrix tells you that. The Matrix tells you it's got no weapons. What it's got is the engine optimization system, which is in the middle of a ship where,
you can kind of see it there.
Kind of where when we were looking at it the other day, you said that.
There's a scoop here, Algared. I don't know if you can see that on
Yeah,
the
it does
screen.
have a scoop.
Yeah. Weird camera angles though. Sorry about that. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that there's no guns. So yeah. God, I keep coming back to the wall screen. My apologies. But yeah, I think the only other thing that I can kind of talk about at all is the there's a couple of skins for it, and they're pretty nice. The concierge one is kind of cool. Or I know there's some people that really like orange, but the orange one doesn't speak to me at all. And obviously you've seen the red one. The concierge one's probably a bit more the most vanilla of the bunch. It's kind of green. Oh, not green. That's the default. It's just plain and chrome. The default's the green one. So essentially, all you're doing is taking the green and kind of changing the colors on some of the others. But yeah.
So just giving you a rough price, given that this is 170, the Razor EX, which is the super expensive Razor, is 155. So yeah, it's $15 more expensive than the Razor.
Yeah.
And the Razors at least have some pew pew.
Yeah. It's just a really hard sell without guns, because I also think of other races that you and I know about. Like I know, for example, Scarlet Apex is coming up. That is a race with distortion weapons. Yeah. This ship is just out of it because it's got no guns at all. So, you know, like it needs it from a functional standpoint, not just. It would have been okay if they just said, "Oh, it's got hard points, but there's no guns applied."
Yeah. Now, they do say that it's a very tough nut to kill, so that they do talk about it having this real, the typical Sabre heavy frame and all the rest of it, making it hard to destroy. So does that mean they're actually giving this extra hit points, or, in terms of the damage you can take? Don't know. But, yeah, it's just a hard sell without weapons. If it had something like, they said, well, it's actually a data runner. Like we talked about this on the stream the other day.
Yeah, we did.
A data runner as well.
Yeah.
And I could go behind it. I could say, okay, it's super fast because it's a data runner. Like the Raven, but it doesn't have the EMPs and the other stuff. And that would have made it I think, different enough from the Raven to probably get away from any legalities they had. But just being a straight up racer.
Does make it a hard.
It's a hard sell.
Should have probably had these open, ready to go, but I didn't.
Yep.
So I'm opening them now. But yeah, they're the three skins. As I said, the red and the orange is literally a color swap, and this one is basically more black and chrome. And I just closed it like an idiot.
Again.
One of those days, I'm afraid.
It is one of those days.
Yeah. So we'll get that back open, but yeah. I think this one is probably going to be more appealing to most people. But yeah, obviously I don't mind the red one, but I did like this one a lot as well. It's more elegant is the word that I would use.
I could see that. It's more subtle.
Yeah. Visually, I really like the ship. I think it's probably the nicest looking Sabre. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But it just Man, I really want to see what racers make of this, because racing ships don't sell well at the best of times compared to other ships. I'm just calling it as it is. I'm not trying to fling shit or anything. But it's just they just don't sell well. And then to make it the most expensive and not to include guns, and knowing how the Firebird sold. Yeah, I
tend to think that both the Firebird and this were built at exactly the same time.
Oh yeah, they were.
They were onboarding ships for two people.
Absolutely.
And.
But yeah, I just wouldn't have built a racer personally. And quite honestly, I thought it was going to be a QED based off what John Crew said. And then when it turned out to be a racer, I'm like, I didn't hear anyone on that post talk about it being a racer, but
that doesn't mean there's not another Sabre that's a QED version.
Potentially, but that'd be a bit nuts.
So
3 of the same ships in variants, because it's already up to 5. That's quite a lot.
I know.
It could be. I'm doubtful, but it could be. Yeah, you're right.
Look, I'm doubtful as well. But if we're looking for a ship that is the variant everyone wants, everyone wants a Raven, or a ship that's as close to the Raven as you can get.
And QED is that, yeah.
So it's either got to be a QED or I think some form of data runner. And unless it's got a small memory capsule for the ship to hold data, or you're carrying a little briefcasey type stuff with your data, it doesn't fit the bill. So for me, it seems flat.
Yeah, and especially when we're in a lull period of the year as well. I don't know, not the best time to sell a racer. I honestly would have sold them opposite to what they sold them.
Yep. Look, I'll give them kudos. It is a non-pew-pew ship.
Yep, that's true. Factually correct again, Algared. Well done. Right, I'll throw it off to you guys in the comments, because obviously me and Algared are a little bit negative on this one, but like it's just because we had the Firebird and we've had this, and it's just really hard to get hyped up of something that's similar to something else that didn't land very well, and we feel that this is going to land even harder. Now, if you're a racer and you're watching this going, you guys are freaking mad, feel free to give it to us in the comments and tell us why, because like this could be the best racer ever. It could. But at the end of the day, not everyone's into racing either, just like not everyone's into mining or pick your profession. And just at this time of the year when we're in a lull period, and waiting for 324 as long as we did, it just seems like a bit of a bad taste in the mouth. So
if I'd actually thought, I'd have actually pulled up its data on, and it'd take me too long to find it, but I'd have pulled up a data on the Herald in terms of its speed and in a straight line, because I know in the Crux Cup, the Herald is the ship to go to. It is the super fast in a straight line, and that would be the one to challenge to pick it against.
Yep.
And I think that's the only thing I can think this is trying to do, just to take the top notch and knock the non-racing ship off that perch of being the fastest in a straight line. But
so what do you want to hear from people in the comments, Algared?
Yeah, if you're a racer, tell us what you think. What is it good for? What top race is it good for? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you like? What don't you like?
I think I'll add another one. As does the guns really limit it as a racer? Because it just takes it out of those combat racing and puts it purely in the racing category. So is it a racing purist, I guess is what it is. So
yeah.
All right. With that then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went extra mile at the end of the video on Patreon.
Indeed.
With that then, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.